Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to Squared Circle Society. Another Dark Side of the Ring double feature for you tonight. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Tad.
Good evening.
Bugs Dread.
Namaste.
And Mike Kruger.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
So, yeah, we're here tonight to talk, two Dark Sides of the Ring. Always fun, and
I don't know if fun's the right word.
Yeah,
maybe there's not too many that are light, I suppose. But
except for the XPW one, I mean, but
yeah,
that's a good time.
That's a good time. Magnum TA, happy ending there.
Well, was it? I know that was on the wrong show. That was Tales of the Territory. That should have. Yeah, I was like, I feel bad he never got his career, but I mean, he's literally like everything after. Good, yeah.
He turned out better than most of the other Dark Side of the Ring shows.
Now, if he would have had a long 30 more years on the career, it could have been a lot different. In his era.
That is the irony about that episode. It's like you look at it and you're thinking, like, maybe that accident was a weird blessing in disguise for you, because that is a good point. You never know. You would have gotten that NWA title and just partied like Flair, and yeah, well, the Flair's still here.
He made a deal with the devil at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say Ric Flair is gonna be like the bombs will drop, and Ric Flair, it'll be Flair and the cockroaches. That'll be it. He'll still have his robe. Everybody else is gone, but Ric Flair will be roaming the wasteland doing the helicopter. So
I feel bad.
No one complained this time.
All those frog women that he's gonna have to repopulate with. All right.
Swamp Women, if you want to preview for our review show this Wednesday.
There you go. Yes, Wednesday, Flesh Wound Horror Live. Don't miss it. Also, be sure to check out our Jasmine St. Clair show and our Kaiju Chaos show that we just did, the commentary on Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And yeah, it's been a busy recording week, so got lots of content for you. But tonight, we are here to first talk about the episode, The Tragic Fall of ADRIAN ADONIS. So, history with ADRIAN ADONIS for you guys. When did you first take note of Adonis? Was it the Piper feud? I know that for a lot of people.
I don't have, I mean, obviously, but I remember him on, this will be back then. I remember this, all the Coliseum tapes and the best of the WWE tapes. I remember seeing him on the older ones of that and leading up to, the Jesse feud, because I didn't get to see any of that live. I was a little too young.
Yeah, I had seen him in, I believe it was like a WWE magazine, and that was like my first introduction to him. And then I looked at like, I think one of the WrestleManias he was on. I just knew him as the gay flamboyant character that he was playing in WWF at the time. But later on, when I became a worker, my buddy Lewis, he's a really good aficionado of old school wrestling. And we were talking about shooters, and he was like, well, ADRIAN Adonis was one, right? And I'm like, really? Like the big fat gay guy in fucking WWE? And he then showed me his biker gimmick that he had done in Japan later on, when he had lost all the weight afterwards. And was doing some amazing work. And then we went into when he had the open challenge thing, which they covered in the Dark Side of the Ring, where he would just challenge fans, and it was 100% shoot. Come in the ring, and he beat the fucking brakes off of them.
You want to bring that back, Kruger?
With certain fans, for sure.
We'll let you in, pick them.
Just make them think you're going to sign their papers.
I was also saw him on the old VHS tapes, the best of stuff. But to me, like the first gay gimmick I thought of is Goldust. Like that was like, oh, is this like Goldust's dad or something? Because that was small. I didn't know it any fucking better.
He had
But
survived.
I was like, wait, that's the other guy.
That's the finish. If he had lived, that's the finish to the Hollywood backlot brawl. Piper's about to finish him off. Fucking nails Piper, and Adonis gets out of it.
Oh, dude! Imagine
perfect.
it would have been the OJ chase and the same ending.
Goldust then just like pins a mangled Piper, just got like T-boned into it. There you go. That would have been the finish. If only. Sorry, you were saying before my nonsense.
No, that was it. But I do think it'd be hilarious it'd be unfortunate if the lifted OJ footage ends like how he ended tragically. Terrible. I don't like that he was robbed, but I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah,
that's you don't need to kick a man while he's down. That's fucked up.
As for me, I always appreciated like agile big man, and like I mean, he was a big fucking dude at by the time he got to WWF, and but just going back and looking at what he was able to do, I mean, just was really impressive.
It's good. It was because of that base of him working all those years.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of had a similar situation where I hadn't worked for 4 years, but then like after a couple weeks, everything starts coming back, and you're like, damn, I didn't even know I could do that shit at this size.
Yeah. No, I mean, you look at it. I mean, he's certainly one of those guys that. I mean, you do kind of wonder if he had been able to hold things together a little bit longer. He wasn't that old. I mean, he still had time to have a hell of a run, especially at that time. I mean, he was only like 34, I think, before things kind of fell apart with WWF. But also a guy who could talk too. Very, very impressive talker. He was kind of the total package. It's funny when you watch this episode, and Greg Gagne, of course, very old school guy, if you've ever seen any of his shoot interviews, thinking like it was almost a punishment that he got that gimmick. But it's not the first person to do that gimmick, though. Gorgeous George, I mean, it worked. It really did. And I thought it was interesting looking at the crowd and some of the signs that people got away with back then. Like, oh, holy shit.
They knew what heat they were trying to get, and they were getting it. So
Bubba Ray Dudley would talk to you in the back for that shit now.
Not new Bubba. Not old Bubba.
No, not old Bubba.
It's not even new Bubba, old Bubba. It's pussy whipped Bubba. That's the problem. But,
well, I mean, dude, have you seen Velvet Sky?
I'm not hating on him.
It's not with her anymore, though. So maybe old Bubba comes back. So
that always happens when the old lady disappears.
I didn't know they weren't together anymore.
No, I think like a year ago dropped. Yeah.
Is that why he's back more to old Bubba if you listen to his podcast?
I think so. It's like, I don't care anymore.
All that backed up baby better.
I'd be pretty upset if I lost Velvet too. But I mean, this is actually a really good episode, even though I mean the ending is kind of similar to a lot of these. A little different. I mean, this was crash, but
it didn't have to happen, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it didn't have to happen, but I did enjoy the story about Bret Hart going to his room and seeing him doing lines with Mr. Fuji, Jim Knox, Rowdy Piper. Fuji was probably like fun to party with.
Dude, the Fuge was there the night fucking Jimmy Snuka did the deed.
Allegedly.
He's got his buddies' backs too. Got it.
Precisely.
It's okay. Just play stupid. It takes you a long way. Just look confused.
That'll come in later with the butcher too.
Just grunt a lot. They won't question you.
If it worked for Ron.
So yeah, kind of like similar, lots of potential, partied a little bit too much and couldn't keep the weight down. I had forgotten that Dan Spivey beat his ass. But in retrospect, like Dan Spivey, maybe not the best one to like screw with. Like this isn't like some 5'9" jobber. It's Dan Spivey. I mean,
You shoot on me? Okay.
that does have to be kind of rough though for a wrestler to get your ass kicked in front of everybody like that, even though it's his fault. But I don't know. Have you ever witnessed that, Kruger, where somebody just gets the absolute shit beat out of them? Have you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lawson.
Have you partaken? No comment.
No comment. But yeah, I've been there, but more times than not, I mean, you need to learn a lesson. And I think he did. He became a better person after that. Stopped being such a douchebag. So
sometimes it works.
I'm just guessing, but it was just like, I'm the party captain now.
Just fishes out his fucking pants for cocaine after. Like, I'm taking this.
So yes, Dan Spivey. Dan Spivey did take it though, like the first night, or at least he couldn't get to him that first night.
Yeah.
I like how Adrian didn't really fight with honor. He did the whole like, oh, hey, what's up? And just like tried to like
headbutt you, yeah.
But this was a pretty bad fight. Actually, sent him to the hospital. A lot of wrestling fights get exaggerated later, and the outcomes change depending who's telling the story. But and they kind of go over. They chronicle him leaving WWF after being shaved by Piper, and eventually dropping 100 pounds over 6 months. So, even though for most mainstream wrestling fans, that's kind of the last image you have of him, he still got back into that proper Adrian Adonis shape.
Yeah, he went back to his biker gimmick when he dropped that weight and ended up touring in Japan for a while.
Yeah. Good spot for him. Again, I could have seen him having like a Stan Hansen kind of run down there because he wasn't ancient. He could have been one of those guys. He was. He could take a bump. I mean, the way he sold.
I would have liked to have him come back at a certain point but mix the gimmicks. So it's like, cruising.
Oh,
that'd have been fucking cool.
He's just got the flag on the tights.
On the bike? Fuck yeah.
I don't know. He might have been a little bit past his prime, but you could have had the Adrian Adonis American Badass feud. I am American Bareback. But anyways.
Okay, Dan. I do love that.
So anyways, one thing that I loved about this episode, because I knew how he died. I didn't remember like kind of all that stuff on like basically his last run in wrestling. There is an episode of Dark Side of the Ring within this as far as the Bear Man goes. The fucking bear killed his girlfriend in the shower.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Psycho style.
Like, yeah. Because the bear had a fucking hard on. That is wild. I don't know how that is not a Dark Side of the Ring episode.
See, for the American Bareback, he could have rode in the side cart.
He just comes out with the bear, just attacks Undertaker. You could have had like Paul Bearer and assless chaps, just like, oh Yes. Take him down, Cocaine Bear. And then take him from behind.
Fucking Viagra Bear.
The Undertaker's like mid-match, and then sees on the Titantron the bear like coming up on what was Sarah.
DDP's on the holding him back.
Oh,
DDP's just watching her, and the bear starts ripping him apart. Fuck.
So he was also a family man. If we can give back to Mr. Adonis.
There's some like diehard fans. These are fucking assholes. Yeah,
welcome
he
to
was.
the channel.
Yeah.
Save across the board.
He was a family man.
A good one too. Shockingly, like that. Thankfully, one of these fucking stories that never affected the outcome of the family.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't take the craziness home, which that's
Rare.
That is very rare. I think in wrestling too, like
At least at that time.
that you're able to, party like that and just be a wild animal, then you're able to go back home and not, take that with you. Seemed like a really good guy overall. Like probably somebody that totally different when he was on the nose candy, but
Yeah.
Seemed like a good dude watching this. Any parting thoughts? Because I know we'll probably spend a lot of time on the next episode.
I just think it's fucked up that they robbed him as he's fucking dying in that car wreck. That how fucking scummy are you? Maybe they did need it. There could have been super poor and stuff, but I don't. Not this time. Nah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But
We at Flesh Wound do not support robbing corpses. Put that down. That's on the record.
Yeah, grave robbing is fine. Actually, robbing the corpse, not cool.
Can we pitch American Bareback to Body?
I was gonna do that after with Mr. Fantastic. I do think that's great.
Well, we didn't pitch something to Jasmine. But that seems something more like I can slide in Munch's DMs.
Okay.
There you go.
I have another one too. Did I write that down? Oh, go ahead.
If you see that at the XPW show, credit to Flesh Wound Features. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those ones. I mean, it was sad. You could still see even all these years, 35 years or whatever it's been later, and the family's still obviously broken up about it. But Adrian Adonis, really talented guy, and overall good guy too.
I concur.
Yeah.
We will see if we're going to say the same thing about the next one. I don't know. We haven't. We've never really done a topic on Abdullah the Butcher, who
I'd like to go first on this one.
Absolutely. It's Abdullah the Butcher, Legacy of Blood. So, Kruger, what is your history with Abdullah the Butcher? Were you ever on a show with him? I guess you
definitely not
when he's ending, but
yeah, no, definitely not. But just growing up, Pro Wrestling Illustrated used to have a lot of Abdullah the Butcher pictures. He was in some video games, like I believe Legends of Wrestling he was in, and that kind of got me to start to look into him as a character. And then as I got older, obviously going into deathmatch wrestling and hardcore wrestling, you got to look at some of the greats, and Abdullah the Butcher was always one of the best draws in wrestling as far as just being a total monster. And when you're a monster character, you study from people like that. I've seen a lot of Abdullah the Butcher matches, like fucking more than I could count. And I will say he like definitely regressed as the years went on because he got heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier.
Well, he started in 1958.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he was still in semi okay shape up until like I would say like the early 80s, and then his weight just got really bad and he stopped moving around as much. But still even to his later years, could always pull off an interesting match.
Even though he couldn't get in the ring anymore, it was all like, let's just start brawling.
Let's brawl like through the whole area. Yeah. I mean, that's what, and I actually really did enjoy his matches with Hannibal. Because I remember watching him on YouTube back in the day when this whole scandal happened. So as far as a worker and just Abdullah the wrestler, I mean, he's one of the most successful heels, I think, of all time. And definitely like up there as probably one of the biggest draws in wrestling when it comes to being a monster heel. But you can't be blading people with your own blades, homie. That's not cool. And saving them. Like, that's just fucking nasty, homie. Like,
you're making enough to buy new blades.
Yeah, like, you need to throw that shit the fuck out. I think what happened to Hannibal really fucking sucks. And, it's definitely scary, especially for somebody like me who, I just shared blood with Judge Joe Dredd like fucking 3 weeks ago, and you just, there's a lot of scares like that when you hear these crazy stories, but also at the same time, this probably happened with a blade that Abdullah the Butcher had reused and had been cutting people over and over and over again. I mean, that's just a mix for disaster. And just in general, like, if you're going to cut somebody, which isn't very common, you usually, blade yourself unless, you're too scared to, or you trust somebody enough. But to cut somebody with a blade is one thing. To cut somebody with a dirty blade is like, just like an unspoken rule in wrestling. Like, you don't do that shit.
Yeah.
So it sucks what happened to Hannibal. Personally, I don't necessarily think he would have been some great draw in WWE. I think he probably would have fell through the cracks, like, the Nathan Jones and other big guys that
he could have made it on TV. I mean, there were some questionable guys that just had the basic look.
I'm sure he would have been on TV. But I just don't. I don't think he would have been like champion or anything like that.
Card status.
Yeah. They may have had him like maybe come up and face the Undertaker for a program just to put Taker over or something like that. Yeah. But still, it sucks what happened to him, and that's getting a really raw deal, especially with somebody that you trusted and as a mentor.
Yeah.
It's just really shitty that Hannibal turns out he's not
return the favor.
He's not a great fucking person either. And as far as the whole incident with him and how everything came full circle, and a couple years ago, Hannibal beat the fuck out of a referee with a spike, but
they carved him though.
Yeah, so like I don't know if that was a spike or a knife, because I mean, if you've seen a spike that you use in wrestling, it's not that sharp. So I don't know how he cut him like that, but he cut the fuck out of that poor bastard and had put staples in his head. He fucking hard weighed him so bad. And just that's unacceptable, especially with a referee, man. And, just anybody in general. Like, deathmatch shit is one thing, but you're going to sit there and stab somebody in the head about 8 times and leave gaping holes in their fucking, like, where you could see their skull. Nah, man, that's really fucked up. So it's kind of shitty that, the whole Abdullah the Butcher story just in general is very, very sad. And it leads into a sad situation that happened to Hannibal, and then in the end he ends up fucking doing some really scumbag shit too. So the moral of the story in this episode is almost everybody is a fucking scumbag other than Mick. And like I did crack up when Mick was, because they were talking about Abdullah the Butcher not being able to read, and Mick is just like, well, he was able to read menus 3 times a day when we were on the road.
Not trying to be funny.
And he had a business, and I'm gonna say
you can though. Like, there are people back in the day that are successful that had like fucking a 3rd grade reading level. Like, just because you can't read full words, you can recognize some things and just hope for the best.
You can read though.
But you can't read legal words.
He knew when those letters started rolling in. I mean,
I do. I've met some people in my life that were not able to read like that, but they did get through life. So again, 2nd and 3rd grade education, you can get by. But
yeah, I'm not, like I said.
I do think he played dumb, like more dumb than he actually was.
I think he knew once, he got access to that blood test, and I think he knew he was screwed. He still hasn't paid anything, and he never will. He's like 82, 83 now. Hannibal's never going to get paid. But, and there's a lot of weird stuff they didn't tackle here, because I know...
New Jack. I wanted that beef addressed here, man.
There's a lot. This one in particular, I was like, man, this is one of those episodes where it's like maybe they could have done 90 instead of 60 minutes because there's a lot to tackle. But yeah, I mean, I know like apparently his wife left him in the middle of all this, and I know I've heard. Again, these are shoot interviews. I don't know what is or isn't true, but some people speculating that maybe that's part of like trying to hide. It is complicated. I mean, Hannibal's in Canada. It's hard to get somebody like that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can understand. Hannibal does come off as really, really bitter. To this day, but
he has a reason to be.
He does. I would be bitter in that case.
What's worse about it's like you find out like when you're getting your dream job.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's. I mean, he's a big podcaster somehow, some way. So,
is he? What's his show?
Not so much Hannibal TV, but not so much anymore after he pulled the referee incident.
Yeah, but I mean, still has run his own promotion now for many years. I mean,
I didn't realize that was the same one.
Yeah, he interviews like everybody.
I didn't know
From
that
a
was
safe
him.
distance.
So I get it. I'm not really pro Hannibal or even anti Abdullah exactly. It's one of those things where he should have been smart enough not to do that. And
Which
I guess
one? Both.
Dirty Blade.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something that is just common knowledge. Even somebody like me that didn't really like become a wrestler, but just that is something you'd hear all the time. It's like if you do it, no dirty blades. Like they would lecture you on that, and this was pre-Hannibal incident. So that whole thing.
Man Transit.
That wasn't a dirty blade. That was a fucking scalpel, motherfucker.
Well, that's true.
I do think I was glad to see them at least talk a little bit about the Carlos Colon feud with him, and just what a huge draw he was. I mean, you kind of had Andre the Giant, but then Abdullah the Butcher as far as just like going and like blowing up a territory.
Well, like the thing with Andre is he's like more of a spectacle. Abdullah is just a straight fucking killer. Like a monster. Kids are crying.
Scared of him. Yeah. Give him the wide eyes like on the plane with Mick Foley. Yeah. You got to protect the gimmick. I actually always forget how big of an Abdullah the Butcher fan I am until like I start watching something about him, and then I fall down a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh yeah, this dude's fucking awesome.
Did you get to see him live?
Yes, I did.
Was it at XPW Vengeance?
Fuck yeah, it was.
I love that so much. And well, of course, as knowing me, because Abdullah takes a empty 40 of Old English, cracks it, uses it as a knife. I'll just say that.
I always felt really bad for the poor young bastard towards the end of his career that would have to take that elbow drop. Like, he would just like fucking collapse on you. It wasn't even an elbow drop anymore.
Pugs, did they even get in the ring in that match? I don't remember. I know.
I think they did for like a couple seconds, but it was It ends in the ring, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did. I looked it up. The match was only 6 minutes long. So.
Yeah,
and no, it was a no contest. So I don't even know if they ever. I got to rewatch that match.
Yeah.
Vengeance isn't available for the whole show, so it's on XPW TV. So I have to do research and figure out what episode, and it's a whole thing.
I do remember first seeing him going, "Holy shit!" I didn't realize how big this man is. Like I would run away from him too. Except me being the fucking crazy little kid I am. Like, you're one of my favorites. Yeah, stab that guy.
Well, that night, I think the crowd was pretty pro Sabbath.
Yeah.
Look,
He-
that-
He had that
Fine,
huge
but-
NWA four-way with Kevin Sullivan, Terry Funk, and Dusty Rhodes. That was like kind of a bit of a record breaker for an indie show because I think they drew like over 5,000 fans for that, which, you know, at that time on the indies was pretty unheard of.
I saw recently a War Games match with Abdullah, and on the other's team was Brody and Invader. I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Well, shit. What was the Halloween Havoc match? His electrocution where he gets.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like I think it was Rick Steiner, like just kind of like sits him down in that chair, and he just gets.
But what was? Do you remember what the match was called?
I
know it had a name.
Cactus was there too. Fuck.
Yeah,
maybe it was just Electrified.
but I know it was a Halloween Havoc. But
I used to love Halloween Havoc, even stuff like that I should have known was kind of garbage in a lot of ways. Like back then,
hey, you know, sometimes garbage is fun.
Garbage is fun, yeah, and that was a lot of fun. But
Question for you guys here. So I never knew that Abdullah had that shit surgically. At least that's what New Jack claimed. Is that? Do you guys hear about it? Like the cuts in his head, like the big like hot dog looking issues.
Yeah.
That was surgically made there, according to New Jack.
No bullshit.
Okay. But have you seen that interview with New Jack?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember him making that claim, but I mean, here's the thing: he did that every single night.
No, I know, but
What the
This
fuck,
is
New
New
Jack?
Jack's worst enemy.
Does he not
That's
look
what
in the mirror?
no, that's what he's like. Oh, this is why mine are like, you know, more real and look shorter and stuff. But
Yeah, but consider
was also
how
short.
long Abdullah worked versus New Jack, plus the fact that every match he was gigging. So that's not every match with New Jack. Sometimes New Jack would just straight up destroy somebody, and that was the match. It makes sense that Abdullah would have looked like that towards the end.
Well, maybe. Well, and then New Jack keloids more, so it's a little different. I mean, the scarring.
I just wanted to bring it up because, like, I never heard that theory. I knew he had a beef with him, but I think it was that starting the outside and the fork.
Were they on the same card advantage? No, that was before New
No.
Jack came in.
Yeah.
You imagine a Gypsy Joe incident. It might be a little bit harder to like just pick up Abdullah and dump him on the ring.
Wait, I think Vengeance is the show with your line, because that show features Mexico's Most Wanted versus the West Siders.
That must be it then. You want to hear that line? Interview with Jasmine.
We could ask Jasmine about Abdullah because I think he did a 3PW show. I could be wrong.
I can't remember if this is before or after Jasmine left too. So
I think it was after.
yeah.
I don't think she was there.
Yeah, I don't think she was at any of the sports arena shows.
Quick side story. Did you ever, I could have asked her about it, but did you ever hear about the rib that she played on Missy Hyatt where she was calling like his hotel room? Jasmine was calling his hotel room pretending to be Missy Hyatt and like telling him like, you know, I want you to come up to my room and fuck me, basically. So Iron Sheik showed up at a convention like at her table. And like a bunch of them were just like laughing. you come to room. Like yeah, it was like, oh. I never really, I don't remember how that ended though. I feel like somebody's getting in a camel clutch for that.
Old
Dude,
country way.
How about how soft spoken how they'll say Larry is, and his brother who sounds like a cartoon character? Not to be mean, I have a high pitched voice myself, but I'm like, dude, this is hysterical.
He's the greatest.
Yeah, pretty much doing the pallbearer. I wonder if he met him.
No.
Paul Bearer just like met him once, and that's where he got the gimmick. So yeah, I mean, a good chunk of this episode is the Hannibal stuff, obviously, but we hear from Hugo Savinovich and Tony Atlas. And
I love Tony Atlas, dude. Like he's just fun.
Most of them were kind of like not that sympathetic to Hannibal, which was kind of interesting. I mean, Hannibal does kick off the episode where he's like, "You're a piece of shit. And when you die, I hope it's slow and painful.
Yeah. That's when you messaged us. You're like 2 minutes in. Holy shit! I was like, yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah, right when he said that, I looked at the time and was, yeah, that was it.
When I moved out here, I just missed. It was open when I first moved here, but I didn't get there quick enough to the Abdullah's House of Ribs. So I hear it wasn't great, but
BYOF, bring your own fork.
he might have been using the
Safer
the blades to cut up the chicken. So
Definitely wasn't watching them forks.
Reusing fucking forks and shit.
we save money. Just put it in the microwave a second, and
Yes, I remember when you moved out there. You said you were going to go, and you never did.
I want to say it closed like I landed almost, and I think it might have closed up. So unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be.
But don't you and Flair have the same pest exterminator or something?
Oh yeah, I can't tell that full story.
Well, I was just saying that part.
But yeah, we do. Flair's not too far from me. But no, it was a good episode. And
the caretaker seems like a very nice lady. I hope
I'm
she's
a little
honest.
fishy there though too. Like I'm like,
seems nice though, man. Winning me over. That's pretty hard to do.
She's there for a reason, and that might be where this money hiding comes in. I don't know. Yeah, there's something there. She's not just a caretaker. I'm just being honest, but we'll have to.
That's Stan's opinion. So
that's my opinion. We'll have to review Roaring Fire, one of his movies that they show clips from at some point. Is the album he recorded in Japan, which is probably worth a bunch of money.
You know, whenever we start the reaction gimmick, we'll do this. Some of definitely busting out some pile driver tracks then.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts on Abdullah the Butcher? Favorite memories, matches?
I mean, I've only seen the one match live. I mean, but yeah, he was a spectacle to watch. But I'm not going to be like, oh, that was my favorite Abdullah match.
You've only seen him once, Todd?
Live.
What about the Axel Rotten at the Avalon?
Yeah, he had a couple XPW matches.
Yeah.
I don't remember. To my brain just
I don't even think they made it to the ring in that one.
Okay.
I saw him like 6 or 7 times, I think. A lot of it during that like era where he couldn't get in the ring anymore. So it was just the brawl around the crowd, but always fun and live even more so. He never would have worked as far as like a long-term contract anywhere because
there's no needs for him though.
Yeah, it's like it's not special anymore. So, and I think he knew that. He knew like, okay, I'm never going to be just Joe wrestler guy or even just your standard monster heel. That's not what he did. He knew what made him money, much like Sabu knew that, that people want to see me do the crazy shit. That's what they pay for. So I think really intelligent guy, obviously made some stupid mistakes and probably doing a lot of bullshitting, if we're being real. But
yeah, I see. I
don't think he's that smart, dude.
He had a great mind for wrestling.
That's different than very intelligent guy.
I don't know.
What are you trying to say?
How fucking stupid is, or excuse me, low intelligence his brother is. That's still an asshole thing to say, but like you can tell that family, they grew up in an age where education not that important.
Well, dude, he didn't finish the fucking 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Well, he was. It's a big guy to be teaching karate. I will say that. Pretty big dude. I don't know if he's hitting any of those Van Damme spin.
Hey, where do you think Seagal got his inspiration?
Fucking A.
There you go. I want to see Seagal break somebody's wrist and then like gank him with a fork in the next.
Dude, for a second there, I thought Big Daddy V was gonna start doing like some butcher shit. Like I don't know something. When he came out, I was like, "Are we getting some butcher action? Give me that fork."
I love Big Daddy V, dude.
That was his best fucking. That was the best version of him for me. Yeah.
Just massive swashing people.
Yeah, I only dislike his first gimmick. Other than that, everything else he did was gold.
Oh, Mabel.
Yeah, fucking that stupid ass.
I liked Mabel too.
that was the worst year of. That's the year I stopped watching wrestling. Was
96? 5? Fuck.
He should have just had like a comedy spot where he backs you in the corner and just starts smacking them with the titties.
He's motorboating him.
Rumble 96 brought me back. So it was good because Sean won. Was a favorite at the time.
There you go. I don't know. Maybe you get a Big Daddy V episode. There's some stories about him that could be interesting. But we get Bam Bam Bigelow will be the next one. So,
and I don't know who we have after that, but we're getting close. We'll
countdown to Jannetty.
I know that's
gotta be Bash at the Beach is still coming.
We got to So I'm not sure. Are we 10 episodes or are we longer this season?
Not sure.
Last year there was like 17.
It's
was
not
it really?
17.
Yeah.
It's I might.
Oh, because it was split.
That.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it was basically 2 seasons, but
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So
I'm still an Abdullah guy. I know he fucked up, but that feeling he gives me, I was like, oh, this is a real monster in real life. That's cool.
I have to expect him like this episode now, and he's going to announce a return match.
XPW
versus Ric Flair.
But you know what? He actually like takes Ric Flair's life in the ring. Not a bad way to go.
All right, I think on that note.
On that note, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to catch us Wednesday for Flesh Wound Horror Live and listen to our Jasmine St. Clair episode and all that good stuff. On that note, good night.
Mr. Todd.
Good evening.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
All lives matter. I'll see you in Disneyland.